Hello, this is Stephen Childs, The Way of Fairness, Team Fairness, and the Church of Fairness. Whatever floats your boat, wherever you fit into that. And we want everyone to fit into that which is actually true, because that's what's going to actually save us from actually killing each other. So, I'm disrespected everywhere I go because I've taken a stand as an atheist. And so, them's fighting words. They kill people over that. And so there's also just regular old bullying going on. And our tribal warfare with their religions, that is a type of bullying of the other tribes. So humans are a bunch of bullies to each other, trying to dominate each other. Well, it's not our fault. We evolved that way. As an atheist, you believe that all of our attributes evolved from with no creator, no intelligent design. So there's no God to blame things on, like the Gnostics wanted to blame it on a evil creator. Well, that's absurd if you're an atheist, because there's no evil creator. World rulers, yeah. So within their mythology, they talked about world rulers that were rather unearthly spirit stuff. So I just came across IFS, Internal Family Systems, Richard Schwartz, and he developed it. And I listened to his video, one of his videos, and I realized I started to criticize him. I started to judge him. I think he has this technique down pat, where he talks in a way that people will start to judge him, and then he's talking about the inner critic. So you're going, oh, that's what I'm doing. So really, that's an excellent strategy that he came up with. And Robert Falconer, like a person that has falcons, falconer. He claims that IFS is the best therapy, best way to heal traumatic wounds, of anything he's came up with. And I have listened to several of his videos, and I came across him from New Thinking Aloud, not New Dimensions. New Thinking Aloud. And Jeffrey Mishlove is interviewing Robert Falconer on the new book, The Others Within, Spirits. So the subtitle is Internal Family Systems, Porous Mind. Our mind is not solid. It's not walled off. It's porous, so the spirits can come and go. We have protection from some of the spirits, and there's what we call guides, spirit guides, and you'll have to look into this. It's really helpful. I'm so happy because I was always worried that they were going to classify me as schizophrenic because I telepathically communicate with spirits. This is a thing of the past. This is mainstream psychology. And people communicate with these other energies or entities And they ask them, are you part of my system or not? Well, that sounds like it's other minds that's in our mind. See what I'm saying? So now we have a really good argument against the fanatical materialist psychiatrists that are anti-spiritual, anti-paranormal. It's really interesting because this argument kind of goes back to Freud and Jung, where Freud was the materialist and Jung was the one who coined the self with the capital S for the Western world. And of course, that's been in use in the Eastern religions for who knows how long. Probably one of the oldest religious ideas from the Upanishads. Atman, self. Let's see, that's another way of describing self. And of course, Ramana Maharshi focused entirely on the self. He taught, don't even worry about what God is yet. Let's just find out what self is first. And it's like there's the metaphor that I learned from Sikh religion, that the ocean is the waves. So all the waves are like the people and the material differences. But the ocean is what they are. So this is non-dual. So this oneness, this quantum entanglement that science has defined it as, is what everyone is. So it's like there's just one wave that all the other waves manifest from, and all the physicality manifests from. And with the atheist view, from the physicality, mind evolved through biological evolution with randomness and replicating chemicals. So, wow, we've came a long way since we invented the wheel. Long ways. To the moon. It's like, I was thinking how people that just claim faith is the answer and love is the answer, and I argue that no, fairness is the answer, not love. We give love to everyone, but fairness is the answer to the problem of unfairness, obviously. So this is logic, very simple logic. And there are so many people that are hung up on this argument, is the mind fundamental and the physicalists are wrong and the mind is beyond the brain. Wait a second. Just think of it for a minute. With quantum entanglement, the first mind that evolved, or minds if it was a group of species that developed mind first, it's already quantum entangled. The ocean is already those minds. They already have cosmic awareness if they just realize it. You see my point? Where our brain is entangled with everything else. There's no separation between anything. It's all one wave. That's what we are. So this is what we thought was God, this oneness. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a God. What we thought was God are actually, this is my opinion from evidence from me communicating with them. And they tell me the future in dreams, and it really happens. And they're explaining how I've got my power back. I found my power a few days ago. And I was in a dream state, lucid dreaming. So I had my wonderful realization, spiritual realization, from studying some Hindu mantras and Sikh scripture. I forgot what they call it. But Ek Onkar, Ek is the oneness of all things, the quantum entanglement. And how when you put a pose in what, God's will, we called it God's will. Now I see it as superdeterminism. With no will involved, it's superdeterminism. And somebody's intervening in the world for us. That's what we call the gods. What if they are actually extremely advanced, scientifically, beings that might be rather Earth-like life in a similar way, probably carbon-based, and maybe even DNA, because it's such a handy molecule to use from randomness to start replicating itself. And so, of course, it did randomly. So, we thought they were like creator gods or these powerful gods of lightning and of fire and all the physical processes in the world, and they could prevent the earthquakes. Well, what if these extremely advanced atheist beings, their science is so much beyond human level, we can't even comprehend what they know yet. Maybe we can't with our level of intelligence. Well, somebody's working with me, taking me through the tunnel, like to the other after we die, and I've had so many dreams about the afterlife, and I'm realizing they're preparing me for my death. And the other day they were telling me that I'm going to live for 1,000 years after I die. And I'm wondering, do we keep living forever? And it's like, it doesn't really matter. But they decided I was going to live for 1,000 years. Now look, think about that. That's what's prophesied in Revelations and in Christianity. 1,000 years of peace, the millennium, and the return of Christ. And they're telling me that I'm the only Christ. This is crazy, but it's not. It's what I'm really experiencing. And so, I'm an atheist. Well, look, the Bible talks about Jesus talking about his Father. He didn't really talk about God. So this teacher that the Bible uses, Jesus, whether he was actually one individual human or not, maybe he was atheist and had to keep it secret so they didn't stone him to death. So I wanted to share how I'm being disrespected for being an atheist. And for being outspoken. I'm having spiritual experiences. See, there's another mind as an in-between. There's some of the atheists on YouTube. I'm hearing as if they're telling me, thank you because I really need your help. So they're probably being attacked also for being open about their atheism. So circling back to IFS and Robert Falconer and Richard Schwartz, and how these other entities, the others within is the name of the book, they possess people, is part of what Robert Falconer is about, realizing that spirits own a person, possess them, they own them, and possibly they can control their body. I've had a spirit, some of their mind, while I'm in meditation, thoughtless, no mind meditation, my arm lifted up. And I didn't do it consciously. And then I realized I've merged with some other mind that's my friend, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. Because there's no fear of it. See what I mean? So say if the Christian religion was going to come along and try to beat that out of me, that wonderful, advanced atheist being out of me through an exorcism. And just for fun, they might try to scare the priests or something and do some magic and maybe throw one of the priests into the wall or something. And the priests are afraid of the devil, and they think that my friend is the devil. These wonderful atheist beings that are anti-God. They're not anti-truth. The Bible's anti-Christ because it's anti-truth. If Christ is truth, then it's the Bible that's the antichrist. See, when I say things like that, people can't handle it. It's just too much. So they start projecting all the evil in the universe. I must be the devil himself to say something like that, or possessed by the devil, or some evil person. When it's actually the other way around. The people that are projecting their stuff onto other people and saying those people aren't even human, they need to be killed, those people are the ones that are not human for doing that. See my point? And by human, I mean like something that's good. Well, we hope that humans are something that's good. And I'm going to say it again. Love is not the answer to this problem. Fairness is. They used to say, what's the question? Love is the answer. Wrong. I'm arguing that. What is the question? Fairness is the answer. What is the problem? Fairness is the answer. Stop doing other people wrong is the ideology that saves humanity. Saves humans. Stops us from killing each other. So the World Fairness Agreement is like a brief document, 5 pages, explaining this idea in a simple way. So it hurts when you're disrespected and people say that you're bugging them, when all you're doing is not surrendering to them. So they claim you're bugging them, or you have a mind that's seeking away in curiousness, and you're thinking about things, about reality, about what's really going on with these people around here being controlled, possessed by Jesus, an evil Jesus in this case, which you might call some other name, Judas or Lucifer or something. But there's some actual being that I'm fighting against that I see that it has possession of Robert Falconer because he surrendered to a higher power for help in his horrible, traumatic childhood. And my question is, what do we do about the ongoing trauma from being disrespected and people saying you're fun to spit on? Let me tell you an experience I had. I was in Phoenix driving truck, and I was at the Flying J in Phoenix on I-10, I think it is, heading west out of town. Yeah. And there was a Mideastern fellow that was walking toward me in the hallway, and I saw him spit on me, and before the spit hit my body, the reality shifted, and then I realized, no, he didn't spit on me. I saw that in my mind's eye, but then something changed and that didn't even happen. It's like they changed, they determined course of events so that was backed up. Maybe they backed up time or something and put us on a different path, a different parallel than the one where the man spit on me. Maybe the one he's in, he did spit on me and he thinks he's some powerful, mean, badass Muslim. Okay, so when they stop doing me wrong, and I sense that they're on the right track because they've seen the light, they've seen the logic, the logos, the logic of a higher order where we stop doing each other wrong, then my heart just opens to them. And I just have love for them and forgiveness. We're all completely forgiven by authority of my atheistic, scientifically advanced friends. As soon as we stop doing others wrong and try not to have unfair thoughts towards others, it's difficult because our past, we've been doing that our whole lives. And if you keep working at not having unfair thoughts, you might experience the part of you that was thinking that way as a different one of your different personalities that's not you. It doesn't operate anymore. So, see, the idea that Schwartz has is that we're all multi-personality, but people that are diagnosed with it are so fractured, broken apart. We're supposed to be broken apart. And then the self, capital S, the ocean is the waves. That's the self, the ocean. So that's the level that the self is knowledgeable about, intuitively. And it's curious about all this abuse. It's curious about all the people. It cares about everyone. Compassion. Has clarity. So it's been called the God self or the Christ consciousness, those kind of things. The Buddha mind. So I can understand why they would think that it's good to spit on me because I'm an atheist. Well, my challenge is becoming big enough as a person and strong enough that here's what it looks like. Because I heard a guy explain it about a bully. He walked up to the bully and says, "I'm not afraid of you anymore." And the bully tried it again the next day and says, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And then they became friends. So that's becoming bigger than you were before. Your fear's gone. You don't care if they kill you. You don't care if they spit on you. You don't care if they make you wreck your car. There's nothing they can do. They can't defeat you. And you can tell them, I'm not afraid of you anymore. So I was given a dream, and the Muslims was going to make me be in a car wreck. But the dream was like kind of low budget dream. It was like no detail. I'm thinking these aliens that are not very advanced made that dream. And they need to surrender to being fair to everyone. Because the dreams that come from the higher power, they are extremely detailed. And they have so much story, message in just an image that when you start thinking about it, because you'll see events happen from this incredibly detailed image you saw, you'll see it the next day. So I saw a person's face, and I think it's about someone who died, and they wanted to know how he looks, and he looked good. He looked good. Well, see, that's what people say about a viewing. Isn't this weird? So I'm seeing other people's faces, male and female, just something similar to this face I saw in the dream that was like in bright light, very high detail, very high quality image, rather than this low quality image of my vehicle in the wreck. Because the Muslims were going to make me wreck. I can see that image of that person that's already died with me right now in my face. because when I started telling you about how other people's face have reminded me of that image of this person that died, I can see that with me. And I've been in the tunnel and they have me flying through these other spirits, their poorest minds. I go right through them, and they experience my presence when I go through. And then they stopped me from going 1,000,000 miles an hour to stopped. And they stopped me so quickly. And I was 3 feet from a beautiful woman, like wearing a bikini. And she was very attractive. And they stopped me before I ran into this physical form. And does that connect with my truck? That they think they're going to, my car, my Jeep? I have a white Jeep now. Renegade. So I can drive Uber. My old Toyota that I had the Sharpie logos on, the right to not be done wrong was written on there. I sold it. I used some goof off and solvent. You buy it the hardware store, and I got all the Sharpie pen off and sold the Toyota and bought a Jeep Renegade. I like the Jeep Renegade. It's so much easier to drive. So my health's fading away, and I've got plans to only work 3 days a week, and it'll be enough. I didn't get money for the Church of Fairness and for the Way of Fairness. So I'm still I need to finance any promotions of it from my own money still. I've had probably less than $100 donated to me in the last 30 years for my work on the website and on this YouTube channel. See, it's not a high quality YouTube channel, but at least it's not in their mold. I broke the mold. And that's another story for another day. Have a great day. I will be fair to you. And I do love you.